Meanwhile, former Vice President Dick Cheney's national security advisor, John Hanna, says this is still a very dangerous situation with Iran. So do not assume, and this goes way apart from the plane crash, that we're out of the woods. Very good to have you, my friend. What's your biggest worry now? A lot of people were saying, all right, since this facility was targeted by the Iranians and the deliberate hope that no one would be injured or certainly killed, we can rest right now. They've satisfied their local audience. We've satisfied our local audience. You're not so smitten.
Well, listen, I do think it was a very good thing what the president did last week, Neil. He really reestablished deterrence with Iran regarding the all-important question that if you try to harm Americans, you are more likely than not going to suffer a very painful American
I'm sorry, John, I mispresented
response.
myself. I apologize for that. That wasn't the part of it. Just the idea that we think the crisis is over now. You don't believe that?
Yeah, no. I don't believe that, because Iran has demonstrated, Neil, over the course of the last 6 months that they have all kinds of ways to make life very difficult for American interests in the Middle East, short of killing Americans. They have sabotaged international oil shipping in the Gulf. They have attacked Saudi Arabia and other American allies in the region. They have all kinds of things that they can do to really hurt us, that we have to figure out ways that we can actually deter that kind of activity as well, and convince the Iranians that this form of escalation and military aggression is going to be a dead end for them, and that the only way out of the economic death spiral that regime is now in is through a return to the negotiating table, taking up President Trump's offer to negotiate a new and better deal in exchange for large-scale sanctions relief for the Iranian people.
You know, John Kerry, the former Secretary of State under Barack Obama, had a scathing editorial in today's New York Times chastising the administration for not just silly strategy, but no strategy when it comes to Iran, going on to say that all of these incidents, including the Iranians going after ships in the Persian Gulf and attacking Saudi oil facilities, none of that was happening when we still had this Iranian nuclear deal, and the president has made it a much more volatile situation. What did you think?
Well, I think, you know, there may be some short-term truth to that once you reimpose massive economic sanctions against a deadly revolutionary regime like Iran, they're going to try and lash out. You've got to expect that. But in the context of the nuclear deal, Iran had a proven pathway, if they waited and were patient for 15 years, to probably getting right up one screwdriver away from a nuclear weapon. At the same time, they would have had 15 years, no sanctions, enriching the regime, making themselves incredibly resilient, buying new weapons, building up their missile arsenal. So that was not a particularly worthwhile strategy either. We would have going to face this Iranian regime either now when they are weaker with economic sanctions on them, or in 15 years when that regime was much closer to being able to finally have a nuclear weapon and having a much stronger economic base to confront us.
John Hanna, thank you very, very much. Good to see you.